guys, welcome to the garden. I know you're here for a garden tour, so let's talk all about it. It is October and I am in Arlington, Texas, and I gotta tell you guys, I am a brand new gardener. I started this garden in July of 2020 and I had no idea of what I was doing. I watched a ton of YouTube videos, Lead Farmer, MI Gardener, Epic Gardener, and so many more, and the Rustic Gardener, and they just taught me everything that I kind of needed to know for gardening. So I just followed, some of their rules of thumb and just gave it a shot. I had no idea that it was going to be so hot. I'm fairly new to Texas and I've only been here 3 years, but I've never worked outside in the summer. So working outside in the garden and learning about germination and so many things, I had no idea that things weren't going to germinate and things weren't going to grow. So a lot of trial and error, a ton of hiccups, which is why I wanted to make this video, because as a new gardener, it's so easy to get discouraged. And we'll talk about these little guys in a second. It's so easy to get discouraged when you don't see things grow, but it had a lot to do with the massive amount of heat here. It was incredibly hot and nothing would germinate, nothing would grow. But here we are in October and things are growing. So I'm going to go through bed by bed. Nothing here in my garden, I take that back, maybe one or two things is original from July. The rest of it I had to pull up, replant in order to gain some success. So here are my green onions. All of these, all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those are propagated. Those are all from green onions that I had from the grocery store. We chopped them down, we ate them down to the little white bulbs. I planted the white bulbs till it had about this much greenery above the white bulb. I stuck the bulb down in the dirt, left the little greenery tip out, and they sprouted. And I just cut these last night. Last night I cooked dinner. I made red beans and rice, and I just cut these. So that's why you see they're low, but they were about this tall last night. And I chopped a bunch down and put them in my red beans and rice. This little guy right here is a water bottle, and I'll show you guys in another video how I make these. You guys like this planter? I got this from Lowe's in the summer of 2020. This is my lettuce bed. I had to redo my entire lettuce bed because it didn't germinate this summer. It was super hot, but now here in October, it has just begun to grow. It began to germinate late September, and today is October 11th, and it has just now begun to grow. You guys will hear my dogs running around in the backyard. I'm sure they'll make a cameo at some point. If you guys go to Home Depot or Lowe's has it as well, you'll find these pre-cut sections where they have plywood. There's Creed making his cameo. Hi, Creed. They have this section with pre-cut wood. Swiss chard. This is my prized possession. I think she's so beautiful. I named it She. This is my Swiss chard. We have already eaten off of this. This is cut and come again. Most Swiss chard is cut and come again. You trim the outside leaves, so you trim these, and this is what you eat, and you leave the centers to continue to grow, and they've grown back beautifully. They have really blessed my family and have given us so much food. And you'll see that I have a water bottle down in here. Now I put this water bottle in here. I'm gonna see if I can get in here for you guys. I put this water bottle in here yesterday. Okay, this is a real tall guy, and you see how much water it's used? Barely any, right? Because it's nice and moist. The soil is moist, it doesn't need much, so it's not drinking from that just yet, which is perfectly and totally fine, but the water's there for whenever the plant needs it. Here I've got, this is my melon bed, and this is a Noir melon, and she's starting to grow. Keep in mind, guys, it's October, and my things are just starting to sprout around here. That's cantaloupe right here. She's just now starting to come alive. And over here, I have black diamond watermelon, and she's now starting to climb up that trellis. So super proud of her. My kale bed I don't know, guys. Maybe you have some suggestions. My kale bed is not doing well at all. I've tried to plant so many different types of kale. I've tried to plant mustards in this bed. Not really sure what's going on, but I have succession planted some Swiss chard. So when we go through that Swiss chard, we've got some more coming up, and hopefully I'll get a nice harvest out of these before the first frost. Now, our first frost down here is last week of November, early December. So I should be able to get a nice harvest. This is my broccoli bed, and I put these bottles of water in here yesterday as well. This one still full, and this one is empty. So that tells me that there's a little bit of a water deficiency on this side, but that's okay. It took the water it needed, and if you guys see, the soil is nice and moist here. This is all broccoli, and I'm sure you're wondering, like, why do you have so many broccoli seedlings? I wasn't sure what was going to germinate. I didn't know what was going to come up. So I just threw seeds everywhere. Because again, guys, I'm brand new to gardening. I just started in July. I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay. So here now we have green beans, and I'm sorry about the noise. That's my pool running. The pool pump is on. Here's my green beans. These are definitely ready to harvest. I might go ahead and cook these tonight. I might leave them until tomorrow. We'll see. But you'll see my green beans. I planted these in August. Yeah, I planted these in August, and these seeds were from Dollar Tree. Planted these in August, and they are ready to roll. So I'll be picking those. This was my purple hull plant, and I harvested this on yesterday, so you won't see any peas on here. They look just like green beans, but instead they're purple. But you won't see any. I harvested them yesterday. I took the shell off of them. They're shelling peas, so I took the shells off, blanched them, and they are now in my freezer waiting to be eaten. So this was from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plants, 5 seeds, shall I say, 5 seeds, and they gave me 5 stalks, and I have about enough for 2 servings out of those 5 seeds. So just FYI, if you want to know like how much to plant, how much will it yield you, I have about 2 servings worth once I cook them up of purple hull peas, and they come up just like black-eyed peas. That's what they cook up like. Over here I have yellow, what I like to call yellow green beans, and they're coming right on along as well, and I have them in their own bed. I have all the peas in their own little bed. So yeah, they're looking good. Zucchini. This is the only plant that I've had since I first started gardening. This zucchini plant was attacked by squash vine borers, and I watched a video from the Rustic Gardener, and he told me how to go into the vine and do surgery on your plant. So I went into the vine. You can't even see it anymore. It's all healed up. I went into the vine. I sliced the vine open with a super thin and very sharp and sterile knife. I sterilized it with alcohol. You can see the bug in there when it's in there because it's squiggling and it's moving. And I scooped the bug out. I then took a meat injector and injected it with BT Thuricide is what it's called. And it's a natural bacteria that kills bugs like squash vine borers. And I injected it with that, covered the incision with dirt, and it healed up, guys. I scooped the bug out, killed it, injected the plant just in case there were other bugs in there, and it healed up and it grew. When that happened, that plant was maybe about this wide and maybe this tall. And look at this baby now. She is massive. So I do have a zucchini growing right there, and I have another one growing in here. There was a third, but it did not get pollinated. You can't see, it's buried down in there. See if I can get it from under here. There was a third, but it didn't get pollinated, and so I'm super sad. There she is right there. I don't think she pollinated. I'm not sure. It's not swelling up. Typically it swells up, and that's how you know it's pollinated, because it starts to grow. But she hasn't grown, so I don't think she got pollinated, but that's okay. I've got 2 going. So this is my baby, and she's been with me since July, and I'm super proud of her. I succession planted another one from the same seed type, so we've got that going there. Looks like a little bit of powdery mildew is trying to come in on here, so I'll treat that with some milk, and you can spray your leaves with milk and that will kill powdery mildew, just FYI. And this is a yellow squash that I'm going to attempt to grow as well. You guys see I have my water bottles. These are the big boys, the big jugs. I got these from Dollar Tree as well. Same thing. I poked one tiny hole right in the center of the cap, screwed the cap back on, turned the bottle upside down, and it takes whatever water it needs. I did not do this to the bottle. The plant did that to the bottle. As it's sucking the water out of that tiny hole, it kind of collapses. But that's fine, because when it's all empty, it'll pop back up, and I can fill it back up with water, use it again. Here are my jalapenos. Oh, I take that back. I lied, guys. I said that the zucchini was my only plant that I've had since July. I totally lied. My second plant is the jalapeno plant, guys. This plant has died on me twice. It got fried by the sun. You can see how dark the stem is down there. It was fried by the sun twice. We had several streaks in Arlington, Texas here, where it was about 110, 120 degrees, and it killed everything in my garden, and it killed everything in every garden. I'm in a couple of gardening Facebook groups, and I wasn't the only one. And I thought this plant was dead, was going to pull it up and toss it. Nope, she is still with us, and here we are in the month of October, and baby girl is growing jalapenos. I'm so proud of this plant. I'm going to try my best to overwinter it. I totally have a bond with this plant. I'm totally in love, and I hope that I can save it forever and ever and ever. Eggplant. I just planted this back in August. I know eggplant takes quite some time to grow, but I said, hey, why not give it a shot, right? So it's thriving, it's surviving. No, it's not producing any fruit yet, but it's producing the leaves necessary. You guys can see the color coming in. It's beautiful. Cucumber plants, totally struggling. Got some powdery mildew as well. I may have to dump this dirt because I have a feeling that my soil might be infected with powdery mildew. And look at that, a little baby grasshopper. Can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see him right there hanging out in my garden? Funny. So if those cucumbers don't thrive, then I know that it's a soil problem and that the powdery mildew is in the soil. And FYI, guys, if you ever get powdery mildew, it can get in your soil. So even if you pull the plant and replant, that plant might get powdery mildew again because it's infected. The soil's infected. Okay. So got some radishes that I planted. This was also planted in August. No, I planted these in September actually. So radishes are coming up. Got some beets by Nay because my name is Marnay. And here's our little little seedlings there. You guys see I got my bottles of water. Because these seedlings are so small, I went ahead and like trellised the water bottle because I don't want them to fall over onto the my little seedlings there. Leeks, they take about 180 days to grow. So we'll see what happens there. Carrots, for the life of me, I cannot grow carrots. I think it's still too hot here in Texas. I cannot get them. They'll sprout and then die immediately. So working on that. Here's my tomatoes. I did 2 tomato plants originally in July. They both were killed by the heat. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and shoot for cherry tomatoes because they're smaller. And if they're smaller, they probably take less time to get to the point of harvesting. So I didn't think this plant was going to thrive. And this is from seed. Everything in my garden is from seed, okay? I didn't think it was going to do anything. Look at how tall this plant is. She is gorgeous, right? And so check this out, guys. Let's see. We're going to go around on the other side and show you guys this beautiful surprise.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you are enjoying the garden tour. Stay tuned for part 2.